Call meeting to order the Oxford Village DDA board meeting, September 20th, 2021. Please rise, pay respect to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justin, can we have roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Justin Wilcox here. Bill Dunn.
Here.
Ashley Ross.
Here.
Marie Powers.
Here.
Dorothy Johnson.
Here.
Pete Schultz.
Here.
Ron Charles absent, and Nicole Ellsworth is not here.
Yes. Thank you. Any public comment on non-agenda items? Seeing none. Consent agenda? Get approval of the proposed agenda?
So moved.
I think we have to add something.
Can we add spring flowers?
Alright.
Under new business?
New business D, we'll put that under.
I'll move to approve with the added item.
Support?
Alright, then move, supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. And the approval of the August 20 meeting minutes?
I'll make that, I'll make that motion if there's no changes or corrections.
I'll support.
Then move, supported. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. And police report code enforcement, we can have a motion to receive and file on that.
So moved.
Support?
Then moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Financials, financial statements and revenue expenditure reports and the bills in the amount of $14,206.72.
I'll move for that.
No support.
It's been moved, supported. Any discussion? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
Helen, do you have a credit card for the DDA?
So I have one that I use for all DD expenses that I go through, and it's just strictly for business.
So it's not your personal card that you're mentioning on here?
So it's my personal card, but only through like business expenses. I don't use it for anything else.
It's DDA card.
It's a DDA card, but not through the village. It's
It's not
in
a
my
personal
name.
card, I guess.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Well, let me clarify, so it's not one through us and our council, is it?
Not through the village.
Right.
Yep.
It's a personal card.
So it's for, so when we looked at it with my husband, he just wanted a card that wasn't in like my name with the village. He just wanted the card in my name, so that it's a card that I only use for DDA expenses. I put it on there. I run the report at the end of the month when the village goes to pay the bills, and they see all the line items on there that are strictly DDA, if that makes sense.
We have roll call on it, please?
Yes, sir. Justin Wilcox, yes. Ashley Ross.
Yes.
Pete Schultz.
Yes.
Marie Powers.
Yes.
Dorothy Johnson.
Yes.
And Bill Dunn.
Yes.
Thank you. Under DDA reports, executive report, please.
Yep, so good month, busy month. Spent a lot of time with business owners. The huddle, this was our second monthly meeting, so we got the business owners together. We were able to go over all information regarding the businesses, anything that's going on in downtown, all the events that are coming up, the downtown gift card program. I'm finding that this is a really valuable 30 minutes in order to just update everybody. They can pick up any kind of posters for their front and back windows while they're there. They can ask me any questions. It's just really nice to be able to get in front of, 15 to 20 business owners all at one time, rather than having to go and, repeat the same spiel over and over again. So that's been really helpful. I secured over $5,000 in sponsorship for events in the past couple of weeks for our events, which was really nice. Working hard on the downtown gift card program. So if you see in your packet here, this is the design. I updated our DDA website so that we could just have a streamlined downtownoxford.info. So now if people type that in Google, our DDA website pops up and you don't have to go through the village first, because originally you had to go through the village, click to find the DDA. So this is a really easy way to do it, and as soon as we launch the program, all of the businesses that are in the gift card program will be listed right here on this website as well. I put in here just some of the things that we went over in the huddle. So for example, like the Witches Night, we have the pop-up market and concert in the park that's taking place this Thursday. I've secured over 20 vendors for that. That'll be set up. So hopefully the weather holds out because it's looking like maybe a little rain. Was able to get a lot of volunteers this month, not only for decorating the downtown, which really did turn out really beautifully, but just more volunteers coming in general, more volunteering for committees. So our promo committee was very full this past month, which was nice. And just fresh ideas in there is really, really neat to see. And I've also delegated better this month. And I think, having to kind of work from home and from the office after this surgery kind of made me do that. And it was really, I think it was a good thing for me because like the chili cook-off, for example, I was able to, delegate that to 2 people in the promo committee. They were able to reach out to businesses and run with that. I found somebody to kind of manage all of our volunteers now so that I can say, hey, can you keep the list of volunteers? And then when we have an event, you're the ones that are reaching out and coordinating and things like that. So just little wins like that are going to make us be more efficient, I think, in the long run. So overall, it was a great month, and it's about to be really busy in October. So that's about it for me.
Very good.
I'll move to receive and file.
Support.
It's been moved and seconded to receive and file. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Motion carries. The promotions committee report?
Yep, so I'll go over that one. So we just had to decorate the town event that I mentioned, the pop-up and scarecrow festival that I also mentioned. We worked a lot on timing and where setup's gonna be. Our goal is to really have all 4 quadrants of Oxford set up with activities and things to do for the Scarecrow Festival to get people to not just visit the park and the businesses on that side, but really move throughout town and really see the different places and the restaurants and the different shops. So even if they're not popping in, at least they're moving throughout the town and maybe see something that they want to come back to. So we have a lot of volunteers that are already signed up. We also reach out to National Honor Society at the school, and they have quite a few volunteers that are going to be helping on that day as well. So I expect that to be just a really great event in general. And then Witches Night, which the DDA is really just, supporting. But the committee for that has really done a great job. They have all the details figured out, and you'll see that we're going to have a dual banner that has Scarecrow Festival on one side and Witches Night on the other, and we're going to hang that up on the bridge, and it'll be on both sides. And that'll start October 1st and run to the 24th.
We're going to do the board committee too.
You want to do it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
We're on a roll.
So the theater project, you're going to see 2 quotes in there now that we're going to chat about later. You're also going to see a quote for the parking lot and sidewalk, so I won't spend our time on that right now. We're going to, the crosswalks, we're going to get those restriped. The white is coming off a little bit. Buckle, we're going to talk about in a little bit. I chatted with you about the website update, and then the fall decor, we stayed on budget, and again, that went really, really well.
Very good. The design committee?
Yep, so the only one that will come up that you're going to see in your packet today is we've been really trying to focus on the theater and helping them, as you know. So they have requested a 50% grant for their neon light repair that's been out for quite some time. So now that that's under new management, we're going to look at that grant tonight. And then economic vitality was pushed to the next month.
I'll move to receive and file 7B, C, and D.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved support to receive and file 7B, C, and D. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. Motion carried. Unfinished old business, the Wackel property.
Yep, so Dave was in today. We chatted with him. I'll just let you know that last week at the village council meeting, they decided to approve the agreement as it stands. If there are any changes that were needed in it, then they could bring it back. I don't really think that we need to make a motion to approve it because we know that there are going to be changes. Is that how you feel, Joe?
Yeah, I think so. A couple
Okay.
tweaks that he wants to have added in, but
Yeah. So long story short, he just wants to make sure that he doesn't get stuck. He talked with a lawyer, and he wants to make sure that he doesn't get stuck on beating out his infrastructure cost. So he was advised by the lawyer not to sign anything that didn't have that in there. But on, I guess, a good front is he has found a brick mason, and they have been chatting. They visited the site yesterday and then one today. So it looks like we're going to be close to that October 15th deadline, maybe about a week off, just because it is a 3 to 4 week project with 6 people, a 6-person crew. But, we really, when we talked with him today, we really said, we just want to see progress. We want to see you getting started. We want to see it going up. And he made mention today that he's not stopping on anything. Just because this agreement isn't signed doesn't mean that he is not trying to get it all done. And I think with the details that he chatted with Joe and I today, like, I could see that he was pushing. So I feel like we're in a good spot. Bob Davis is going to put some infrastructure details in here, and we're going to send the agreement back to him. And at that point, he'll have a lawyer look at it, and then we can get to the signing point. So originally I thought we were going to have to make a motion on this just to approve it as is, but then with our conversation today, I think we just pass it on by and then discuss after.
Any questions, comments?
I guess I agree, just because, so the former agreement prior to this extension, did it have any mention specifically about infrastructure? I mean, if he fell on his face and didn't get this done, I mean, it was game over, correct? Like, this whole infrastructure thing is like some new phenomenon?
Yeah, so I think because we got really, really serious about our hard deadlines and we weren't just willing to extend again, he could see that, we weren't playing around. And I think he got a little bit scared to lose a ton of money. And probably because we were so adamant about that October 15th, not a day later kind of thing, where, yes, we are very serious about that, but, if they're 3 weeks into the job and, they have just 1 week left, we're not going to say, okay, we're going to court, like, we're taking it all back. And so I think that it was probably out of fear that he's asking for that now. We don't have the numbers at this point, so we asked him today to get us a number of what he thinks that looks like, because to be honest with you, if it is some astronomical number, then, in my mind, and I don't know how Bob Davis feels or Joe, but in my mind, we're not putting that into agreement, because then he could walk away and we'd be, stuck with a $300,000 bill, which we don't have the funds to do that. So, I think we just need to see that amount, and then now that he is working with a lawyer, I think that we'll probably get someplace. I think he was just fearful of us just walking away.
Go ahead.
Do you feel like that he has an adequate plan to complete the rest of the timeline? I know we're focused on October 15th. But
Yeah, so the October 15th deadline, we knew from the beginning that that was going to be the hardest deadline for him to make, because the rest of the items that he needs to finish, he has people to do that. So it was just, he could not find a block mason that had the time to do it. So now that he has found that, I don't foresee us having to push any deadline back at all, nor would I be willing to push any deadline back. I knew from the beginning that, this block mason was going to be tough for him to find.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Are we gonna get that number soon? We're at the 11th hour and I've been asking for months.
Yeah, so we made it pretty apparent to him today that, we're not going to play nice if we don't have that number, because it has, if that's what he wants in the agreement, then he has to get it to us, because we can't just throw any number. We have no idea where to start. So he did say today he had that number, so I'll definitely stay on him in the next week to get that.
Okay, I see this stalling, like, this isn't something new. You know, I asked him months ago flat out.
Totally agree. And that's, I think, you know, in my mind, and you know that I've been pretty much a stickler on that October 15th deadline. If nothing gets done and that block mason is not out there and we're not 2 weeks into work, we're holding him to that deadline, you know? So I'm willing to play in the sandbox if things are getting done.
When he comes up with that number, is it going to be canceled checks, or is it going to be invoices from, you know, the supplier and the contractors? Because it would be easy just to submit a number.
Submit a number, yeah. So he said that it was an invoice for the whole,
The water line, maybe.
the water line. So he said, you know, I can't break it down into small numbers for you, but I can at least prove like what the project as a whole from the infrastructure cost.
Okay.
I said, well, as long as we can see, you know, a document or something, I mean, we're not gonna just take his word for it.
Village engineer should be able to come up with a close estimate of cost.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and they were there outside doing the inspections and stuff, and materials, I mean, but he subcontracted that out, so he can look at the subcontractor's agreement as well, too, as far as cost. When I first asked, we're gonna break it down, and I said, you've got drain structures in the ground, and you have, you know, borings of the live water mains, and you got the water main. So it's more of a whole project he has on the contract.
Plus you got the inspector daily report,
Yep.
so how many hours he was there, and
Yeah.
pretty much get close.
Should be pretty accurate. Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you. Theater project?
Yeah, so I secured another quote since we last spoke. If you recall, last month, we had Birmingham Seal Coat that went over that theater project. I did email him, Brian, and said, the board felt like this was a little high. Would you like to re-quote this? Joe and Don did a nice visual with the portion that needed to be done at the theater. And really, it was easy for somebody to quote it that way. So I thought, well, maybe Birmingham Seal Coat maybe quoted it a different way. So I just wanted to give them the, you know, option to come back. They did not, but I did get a second quote from Norm with the D-Decker Easy Concrete at $11,500. So quite a bit less expensive. I'll be honest with you, I negotiated. So originally this came back at $13,500, and not mentioning that we had other quotes, I just said, you know, I think this is a little higher than they're willing to go. So it came down to $11,500, and I said, I think we could work on that number a little bit more, and he said if this could be done quickly in the next month, he could bring it down to 10. So we're at, you know, $10,000 if we could commit in the next month to do the project. But that's really that, and that is with our DPW being rock stars and removing everything for us before the work. So this is just, you know, something, if you guys feel like this is important and this is something that you would like to see done and see done quickly, I mean, I think 10,000 is a great quote, but it's still a chunk of change.
Oh, is this the same contractor that's getting on the sidewalks and the pavers and
This
everything?
is actually somebody different. This one was recommended to me by a board member.
Okay. And with this, it still leaves us money in the budget to do the other part of it?
I'm sorry, what part?
The sidewalks and the pavers.
So that quote is in here that you're going to see, and I'll be honest with you, it's quite a large quote, a little bit over $50,000. And that is only for the area that is behind the tap quadrant. So theater, tap, and that is all the sidewalk, trip hazard areas, and all of the bricks, bringing them up, laying down the ones that they can save, and then putting in new bricks where they need to.
pleasure.
I'm just gonna say I will abstain from the conversation.
Get your reason.
Norm is my friend, and I don't want any nepotism, so,
Just in case I understand.
thank you, yes.
I'll move that actually Ross be able to abstain from this vote. That's for the record.
I'll support that.
I think it comes down to the conversation that if we want to do the back areas and really focus on the sidewalks, the tripping hazards, the bricks, then we definitely need to start saving some money and put it towards something along those lines. If we're gonna hold off on that until we can, save some more and, do maybe the project all at one time, then I think that this would be something smart to do as an improvement project that really, it would be nice to have it done before the snow falls and before it gets too cold to do it.
So is,
Go ahead, Dorothy.
sorry, any of the trip hazard stuff, something that the DPW can pick up some of those pieces to lessen that bill?
I don't think.
I've seen
that
them
they're-
grind off the corners of lifted slabs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Joe?
I think they have done that in the past. Again, it depends what you want to look for when you're done. Do you want
Right.
ground off, look at pieces, or do you want the nice and fresh look
Yeah.
front sides? I think that's part of the conversation. I'm not that involved in it that much. I didn't even hear that quote until just now.
I just got that quote yesterday.
I don't know.
There's some,
Or Friday.
there's some pretty decent lifted things, and I think it's kind of a big deal. I mean, unless you guys carry a pretty decent policy.
Well, we do, but we
I
don't want to use it.
Right.
Do you want to use it?
The other,
No.
I think the other thing to consider is, I think what DPW could probably help us with is a lot of the grates over the trees are tripping hazards. We could pull those out. I think that DPW could definitely do that.
There's actually those,
Yeah, so that's one of the tripping hazards. The other thing that we could also ask is that maybe the larger tripping hazards that are part of the cement, maybe just those pieces are taken out and we don't touch the bricks right now.
Right.
So that would be an option for us to at least get some of it done. Not necessarily that we're doing that the right way because we're not taking on the whole project, but at the end of the day, $50,000 for just one portion,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
Mhm. To me, I think that's more important than cosmetically down up the side of the road either, but that's just me.
It makes sense. I'd rather have safe surface to walk on for the sidewalks and everything and appearance-wise. If you asked Joe Blow on the street, as far as the planter boxes by the theater, I don't think that would even come up in conversation or that they would even call it out to say, hey, this really looks bad, kind of a thing. Right?
Kelly, are you asking us to approve the 11,500, or are we
So
doing
if-
something else? I guess I'm.
No, that's okay. I think the reason why I just wanted to bring up the backside of the theater is because we definitely can't do both. 50,000 for capital improvements, not that we don't have wiggle room there, but that was kind of the amount that until everything got done with the M24 project that I was comfortable with us spending this year. So, if we are going to approve that 53,000, I think the quote is, then I'm just saying that we couldn't then go and approve the theater project.
Okay,
So-
understand. And somewhere we have a description of the scope of work for the 53,000?
Yeah, so it's actually under new business because we haven't discussed it yet.
Ah,
So it's the last sheet in there. And it was labor and materials to remove and replace concrete sections, remove the paving bricks, supply all materials. And we walked multiple times back there and really just kind of marked out all of the areas that were either tripping hazards or bricks that needed to be replaced. So when I originally got this quote, I thought it was for the quadrant behind Red Naps and the quadrant behind the tap. And that
Yeah,
sat a
because
little
this
bit
is
better.
state where,
Right.
what the conventions are, or the area, that's
Right, well, to be honest with you, Marie, it's just so, I think it was so hard because there are just so many areas back there that, like, just the concrete's lifted that much and then, you know, all those squares have to come out, but it was in so many areas. I mean, I guess I could provide pictures probably, but I'd be happy to go over and take those if that's something you guys would want to see. And, you know, the other thought on this is that we can just put these both aside until next month, and, you know, we can ask Brad Page, who did the Page Masonry quote, you know, to say, you know, can we work on this a little bit, or can we just level off the sidewalk where the tripping areas are, and then re-quote us on that, and see what that comes back as, and then decide at that time too.
Is that an option?
Oh,
Is it
sure. I
possible?
mean, he's really great to work with. He's been awesome throughout this whole process. So I think that if I went back to him and said, you know, $53,000 isn't in our budget, but what does it look like just to make it safer? I think he'd be happy to do it.
In walking back there, I mean, personal opinion, back and forth, the area behind Naps and that area back there is in extremely bad condition. I mean, I was shocked to see that there was this much in that south quadrant. To me, it was that north quadrant was way worse than this, and that's why I'm surprised to see how much this was for the south quadrant. The only other thing, unless we split it up and just said, just do 25 in each.
Yeah.
So that way we're tackling both of them this year, and gonna get really, really bad stuff out of the way. Would be one thought process.
Okay, so maybe we can have, postpone and have that conversation again next month.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if I can bring a couple more ideas of how we could structure it to, you know, either split it up or get it down to a little bit lesser price, maybe not touching the bricks right away, but just the sidewalks. And then I'll also talk with Don and DPW about just pulling up the grates, just to, because they're quite lifted, just to, you know, make that portion a little safer.
If that's the case, I'll rescind my motion to Ashley abstain.
I'll rescind my second. If you need to during that time, if you need to walk again and go through the whole thing, I mean, if you want to get a hold of myself, or I'm sure Mr. Dunn will be around and happy to walk down it.
That's 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's right. We're
One
on
way or the other, we
vacation.
can help go through it. If we hold off on this until October, obviously, is he still gonna have time to do it this year, or is it gonna be held off till next year?
Not sure. Definitely, he was trying to fit us in between jobs, so that's something that I'll have to go back to him with and ask him.
He's also the second mason contractor that Dave's,
Yeah,
so he may, depending on his price versus the other price, he may be going to do the work at
Yes.
level. I'd already walked over with him one day, when he came to see Kelly, so he and I walked
because
over.
I begged him, I'm like, do you do block?
block?
He goes, we do, and I was like, somebody called Dave.
Is there a desire to maintain those brick pavers in the backside for, because they're desired, or could some of those be removed and just be cement and be done with them? I don't.
Pete
think
and I
they're
talked
maintenance
about
issue.
that. Pete and I talked about that when
Okay.
we were back there. It just doesn't, we don't think it looked as good.
It's
If
all
it was
cement.
just all cement, yeah,
I mean, it's part of the design.
Yeah.
yeah.
For the whole thing
I just
back
wondered.
there.
It is cheaper.
Done properly and everything, but
The
yeah,
bricks are cheaper.
No, it's cheaper just to
For it.
cement it.
Can we cement it and stamp it with that brick? You know, pattern, I've seen it done, they even use colored
You
cement.
mean the Enduro one? That's on our crosswalk. Just kidding.
the regular stamp.
Yes, let me ask him about that to see, you know, what that looks like. I'm sure that he would have to contract that out to somebody else, because I doubt that they would do it, but I think it's worth the shot.
There is a local business that does that.
Okay.
Is it the stamped concrete? I can't, there's two of them in our college.
It's called stamp concrete, I think.
Yeah, I think they're Oxford people.
I just went down and mentioned several times the bricks, how they heave, how they sink at the curb.
I know.
front last, because it looks like all the filler between them is, I don't know what it went. Some of it just seems like there's huge gaps, and you don't even see the sand.
They weren't
grit.
supposed to be huge gap to begin with. That's part of the
Was or
problem.
wasn't?
Was not.
Okay.
They're supposed to be
All right, board, what's your pleasure?
Set it aside.
Is there any work that we could do within a month's time so that we're not delaying the project entirely? Or is that gonna result in us needing to come back together and cast a vote? Like, we just brought up a couple new ideas about the stamped concrete, and,
Yeah.
you know, can we quickly explore those?
We can, I'm just, from even just working with Page Masonry, they're just taking a long time to get quotes back because they are so busy. So my goal would just be to have things for you guys for next month. But if it is something where I can get it back very quickly and I feel like it's a good option that makes sense, then I'd be happy to, have a meeting in 2 weeks or so, that maybe we could get the project done before, the snow flies. So let me see how fast I can get them to quote us.
Okay, great.
Do we have any other second quotes or potential?
So, no, and this one took 6 months just to have them quoted out. Yeah, so Pete and I walked that with Don almost 6 months ago. And that's how long it has taken for one company to get us. Wow.
The world we live in right now.
Yeah.
So I have a motion to set it aside.
So moved.
Any other discussion on that? And this would be for the movie, or excuse me, yes, the theater project that we're setting aside at this point, first of all, because the other part will come up under new business. Correct?
Yes.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. New business?
Yep, so the first one is the movie theater sign grant that I mentioned earlier. So they're requesting 50%. So it would be $905, and that would replace both sides of the signage with new lights.
I'll make a motion to approve the $905 to aid in the fixing of the theater sign.
Support. Or second.
It's been moved and second. Any questions, discussion? Roll call?
Yes, sir. Justin Wilcox, yes. Pete Schultz,
Yes.
Josie Johnson,
Yes.
Marie Powers,
Yes.
Ashley Ross,
Yes.
Will Dunn.
Yes.
Motion carried. Moving on to training, number 2.
Yeah, so you don't have any documents on this, but Oakland County has a in-your-town training that is $1,500 that we need to use this year. As you recall, we voted on the grant last month for the gift card program, so this is an extra $1,500 on top of that. What I would like to do is I'm talking with them about a couple of different trainings right now that we could open up not only to the business owners, but just in the community. What I'm hearing a lot about is, because everybody is so short-staffed, they're depending a lot on their managers. So what I would really like to do is have a training that would include the managers and not just the business owners. And I've talked with a couple of business owners in the community that thought of, just management of everyday customer interactions. There's quite a few trainings that Oakland County has. Zing Training is the company that comes in and does it. But we'll be able to spend the $1,500 on that. So I just like approval that once, they get back to me on what we can, what training we can have for the $1,500, I would just like to be able to say yes and use it so that I can turn it into them so that we don't lose it.
Good idea. And you need approval to do that?
Just approval to use the grant money, yep.
All right, so move on that.
Second.
Been moved and supported. All in favor?
Aye.
Moved.
You need a roll call
We
on
need a roll call, yeah, probably should go ahead for spending money.
Roll call. Pete Schultz,
Yes.
Bessie Ross,
Yes.
Justin Wilkach, yes. Bill Dunn,
Yes,
Marie Powers,
Yes.
Dorothy Johnson.
Yes.
9B, the brick and sidewalk capital improvement. As far as this, I would say postpone it until October, in order until you get other bids to split it up or do whatever we want to do on that.
make a motion to set it aside.
I'll second that.
All right, been moved and supported. Any other discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same thing. And then 9, there would be 9C actually, spring flowers.
Yep, so it came just all of a sudden that if we want to have spring flowers in all of our beautiful black planters down the streets, that we should plant them now. That way we're not stuck with just planting annuals. We can plant perennials, saves money. They are absolutely great and will multiply as the years go. So it's $300 and that will get us enough for downtown. We'll plant a couple of different kinds so that they're blooming early spring and then late spring and then right into summer. One of the business owners who knows a lot about flowers was able to help me with those choices and able to get us the discount so that it does only cost us $300. So I would like approval to do that, and then I can drum up some volunteers for the next couple of weeks to help me plant a couple hundred bulbs.
Mr. Dunn?
Will this be something that needs to come before the board, and can we have the manager, okay to plant some bulbs? It's $300, she's got, what, $3,500 limit to spend?
$2,500,
But still,
I just wanted you to know that I'm gonna plant a couple hundred bulbs. That's great, if you just want me to do it, I'll just do it. That sounds great. Okay, awesome. All right, so go Lions, let's get out of here.
Yep. All right, so you'll handle it?
Yep.
All right, very good. I'll talk to afterwards next year, so about that,
Okay.
couple ideas for you. Items removed from the consent agenda, there were none. Board member comments, Marie, start with you.
Just another awesome month, and thank you, Kelly, and go team.
Great to see you back, Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a go-getter, you're a ray of sunshine, and I'm in awe of you for what
Thank
you're
you.
physically going through, yet you make this job look effortless.
Thank you.
Ashley?
Keep delegating.
Okay, yes, amen.
Mr. Dunn?
I'd like to congratulate Oxford football for kicking the bejeebies out of my alma mater. It was quite a score. That's it.
Justin?
Kelly, you're the biggest girl in town. You're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Echo her comments on the volunteers, because again, I think as more volunteers you get, the more involved you get in the community, and now you've got people that want to be part of it and continue to do it, I think you just continue to grow from there, so. In all of our reviews from prior years, Dorothy can echo this, of the reviews that we've had from Main Street, that's one of the things that we've always been kicked on, because we haven't had the volunteer portion of it, so that's huge, so. Good job and keep them coming, so, and the place, the town looks nice, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I'll take your motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion